Hi there, I'm Harry Bingham from Jericho Writers, and I'm going to show you how to turn all the ideas into your head into something that can actually fuel a full-length novel. And that's one of the things that new writers find hardest. You know, we've got lots of people with kind of incredible imagination, lots of ideas buzzing around in their head, and that's almost the problem. They've got a million ideas, and for stories, for characters, for telling premise, you know, the premise of a story, for settings, and so on and so on. And people get excited and they start to write, but none of those ideas seem to go anywhere. And so the question in a way is, how do I turn my ideas into a book? How do I go from this kind of ferment of ideas in my head into a kind of disciplined structure for an actual novel that can engage a reader? Okay, we're going to go through a number of steps, but the first one is the most important. Step one, no cheating. This is going to be a 7-step process altogether, but the first one is don't cheat. Okay, you're watching a video on YouTube, that's great, but this video will have no effect if you don't actually do anything as a result of it. So you need to get your pen and your paper out, not necessarily now, but when you're actually engaged with the exercises, and you actually need to do it. This is all about putting the work in to develop a story idea. And that's step one, no cheating. Step two, make a list of everything that excites you. Now that's not going to be a 5-minute job. It's not even something that you can do in the morning, because you can do 2 hours on this in the morning, and then you go for a walk, go shopping, or pick up the kids from school, and a whole set of other ideas will occur to you. You need to bundle everything down, okay? And what we're talking about is books that you love, books that you loved as a kid, movies that really engage you, that activate your imagination, maybe non-fiction passions that you have, maybe you're a huge amount about rock climbing, or maybe you're a passionate ocean sailor, or maybe you know an awful lot about American Civil War history, for example. It could be times, places, settings, stories, anything that really grips you and gets your imagination working. Just write that down. You can just scribble it down freeform on a bit of paper. You don't need to organize it at this stage. Just get it down there and make that as fertile and rich as you possibly can. As I say, it's better if you do this over a few days, because there'll be ideas that you keep bumping into that really excite you, like a day or two after you started the project. Okay, so step three is to take that massive material that you've just created and start organizing your thoughts into columns. What you're going to do, you're going to get a sheet of paper, and it's somehow better if you do it on paper. If you want to do it on screen, you can, but there's something more creative, more releasing about doing it actually on paper. And you need columns for protagonists, that's the heroes or heroines of your novels, other major characters, settings, and challenges. So basically you've got 3 columns, or 4 columns if you want: protagonists, other characters, settings, and challenges. And you'll start taking all of this, and so maybe you've kind of got, I don't know, Arctic adventure down as one of the things that excites you. Well, that's going to generate some ideas for characters, some ideas for challenges, and there is an idea for settings right there. So you're going to start, and you may have multiple ideas, so that if you've got, if you're excited by stuff in the Arctic or the Antarctic, you may find multiple characters leaping to mind as a result of that. It could be an icebreaker captain. It could be the ensign on a young junior officer on a naval destroyer. It could be a research scientist. It could be a Russian missile technologist. It could be a kind of Greenpeace activist. It could be all sorts of different people, and you'll bundle all of those down. So you may, again, spend a little bit of time doing this, but you're going to end up with this really rich cast of people and places and challenges, and you're going to think, my gosh, there's not just one novel here, there are multiple novels that I could write. That's where step 4 comes in. Okay, we've got to start to build a story, and this is where it gets challenging, but it gets really fun. You need to pick a hero, a protagonist, you need to pick a challenge, and you need a setting. So for example, your hero could be the captain of a scientific exploration vessel. They're shipwrecked in the Antarctic, and the captain and their team have to cross 450 miles to get to a rescue point. And obviously, this is the Antarctic. The weather, the food, the equipment are all going to be terrible. They're all going to involve multiple challenges. So you start to build the bones of your story: hero plus challenge plus setting. You don't have to answer anything yet about what that challenge actually is. You just about the detailed way in which it plays out, but you just got to start getting a sense of what a book, the shape of a book could be. But now we've just described a little Arctic-Antarctic adventure, and I just want you to think, how does that story sound so far? And I'm going to suggest it sounds just a little bit boring. Like, yeah, it's a story of Antarctic adventure, but isn't that like any Antarctic adventure has roughly that shape? So let's see if we can juice things up a little bit. And here we get to step 5. If step 4 was fun, I think step 5 is even more fun. We're going to take what we've done already and we're going to shake it up and ramp it up. Okay, so our Antarctic story felt, I think a little bit dull because it didn't have a rogue element. Everything was really expected in a way. Yes, a ship is in dangerous waters in the Antarctic, it has a problem, people have got to trek across ice. That's kind of what happens in the Antarctic if you're unlucky. So it's all rather expected. Yes, it's a sort of, it might work really well as a true life story, but as a piece of fiction, you think, is there really enough in it for me? So let's add a rogue element in. And a rogue element is anything that isn't quite expected within the terms of that story. So for example, teen girl falls in love with teen boy in small town America. That sounds a little bit boring, but you ramp it up by saying teen girl falls in love with a vampire in small town America. It's still kind of the same story, but that rogue element all of a sudden makes that a totally different proposition. And just that pitch for a book, teen girl falls in love with a vampire in small town America, that pitch effectively launched a massive series of internationally best-selling books and of course movies as well. So let's get back to the Antarctic. We were in the middle of step 5. We had the same basic story as before, but let's throw in that rogue element. So yes, we've got a captain, yes, we've got a shipwreck, yes, this team has got to get to the rescue point, but maybe one member of the party is intent on sabotage or murder, or maybe there's a ghost, or maybe there are strange radio transmissions that are hinting at Russian arms activity in the area, or whatever it is, but you need some extra element that you're not expecting, and it's that element which will take an ordinary seeming story and give it real sizzle, real zap, and you can already feel kind of how exciting it is. Okay, now up to step 5, we've got the bones. We've taken all of your passions and we've got the bones of something that could be really good, but don't mistake the bones of something really good for an actual proper plan for a novel. So step 6, you actually need to start doing the hard yards and planning your book out. Okay, and look, I'll be perfectly honest with you, this bit feels like real work. I find it always the hardest part of the novels I write, and you don't seem to accomplish very much because you're not chucking words down on a page, you're actually just thinking, and you can do 4 hours of this and you'll feel exhausted, but it's really time massively well spent. And what you want to do here is take your time and you're cycling round and round. So you're going to create extra notes on your main character, notes on other key characters, then notes on the story, especially the start and end of it, and notes on settings. And as you kind of expand on it, as you start to understand your setting, for example, as you kind of lay down more detail about exactly what equipment they have, exactly what the sort of terrain is, exactly what the challenge is, you'll discover that that starts to give you great ideas about the characters, and as you start to enrich your notes on characters, that'll give you great ideas for the actual development of the story itself. So it's a process, and you're cycling round and round, and you're not going to accomplish this in a day. This is more like something to give yourself a project for a week or 2 or 3. And step 7, ta-da, you can actually start to write your book. And you've taken all of this kind of creative passion in your head, stuff that you already love and are really engaged with, but you've now taken that all the way through to a brilliant idea for a story, and actually started to structure that in a way that could really capture a huge market. Okay, I hope that's been super helpful, but the help hasn't even finished because we've got a brilliant idea generator tool. You can get it for free on the link right below this website, and it'll take you through this process for taking your ideas and generating story ideas. It's a brilliant tool, it really works, and you can get it for free from the link below. I'm Harry Bingham for Jericho Writers. Thank you very much for watching this video, and best of luck with writing that story. Good luck.